Buckle up, folks. We are in for a bit of a long one today because today we are talking about how crime is expensive in Trinidad and Tobago. Well, not only crime, it's death in particular. So today in the news, people were talking about the cost of removal, storage, and associated disposal of human remains. It's a huge ticket contract for the government of Trinidad and Tobago, as well as the respective vendor community. And there are concerns on both sides because it's just costs are ballooning. So in a way, it's nice for these companies because they have work. It's under unfortunate circumstances that they have work, but they have work nonetheless. They're being kept very busy, which also means that the government is being kept very busy, having to attend to what is presumably crime scenes, because that is generally why they would procure services of this nature. Not to say that every time they attend a scene, a crime has been committed. There may be just some sort of strange circumstances where a death has taken place and they need to do a bit of investigation to ensure that a crime has not been committed. Regardless of the circumstance, the fact of the matter remains that this is a critical contract for the government of Trinidad and Tobago. I want to say, though, that this is a critical contract no matter what country you are in the world, but, since we're talking TNT, I will specifically refer to TNT as this is what I was monitoring on the news today. So let's talk about some of the things that the government of TNT would have to take into consideration and why they would need to procure these services for the disposal of human remains. So a big ticket item in this is supplies. I think that's a no-brainer. So the company, the funeral home, is providing a service, but they come armed with all of these supplies to be able to appropriately handle the situation. So there's gloves, body bags, stretchers, to name a few. There's testing services associated with this, so you would need a vendor that can assist you with getting those remains to carry out the respective tests to determine cause of death, inclusive of toxicology. And I literally just said the next thing, which is transportation. You need to get from point A to point B, and literally the final destination after that. I don't mean for this to be full of puns. It is a serious topic, but bear with me here. Security services is something that is factored into a contract of this nature. Yes, law enforcement is likely who is going to ensure that on the scene the area is secured, but what about at the funeral home? What about when those remains are taken to the Forensic Sciences Center? We need the building secured. We also require autopsy services. That's a huge portion of what the Forensic Science Center does. We also need to procure the services of a medical examiner. That is such highly specialized work. It is difficult to get medical examiners that have the level of training and education required to carry out autopsies. Trinidad and Tobago faced challenges with retaining a medical examiner in recent years. And again, this is not specific to TNT, but we've had our fair share of issues. We also require vendors who can provide 24/7 service. So not only for on and off peak periods, but also for holidays. And we need to have continuity of service because this can happen at any time of the day or night. And we need a vendor who can get all around the country as and when required. So I thought it would be interesting to go through what a procurement would look like for services of this nature. I've procured everything under the sun. both at a municipal level, provincial level. I've procured products, services, and I've employed different approaches and strategies and different procurement methods, both open competitive, non-competitive, limited tendering. I'm going to spell out two options you have, and then I'll tell you which one I think is the best option. The first option, which I don't think is the best option for services of this nature, is an RFQ. You may think that disposal of human remains and the respective handling is simple enough. You can say, look, I need someone who can do this, this, and this, ABC, XYZ. You know, maybe we might section it off by region, whatever. If you are a legitimate funeral home, you can bid on this. Just give me a price. We'll talk about optional periods and price increases. And, you know, Bob's your uncle, as they say. I don't think that is the best approach, especially given uncertain times and the fact that there's a rapid or consistent increase in crime. And unfortunately, these crime scenes are gruesome. So we're not just picking up remains, taking it to Forensic Sciences Center to rubber stamp the whole thing. No, there's more to it than that. You need a highly qualified team, a team that's accredited, a team that drives quality standards, and a team that is consistently looking to train, upgrade, upskill, look for more environmentally friendly ways of doing things. You need a vendor who is driving innovation and supporting that in the industry in the Caribbean, and particularly in TNT. So this is why I think a request for proposal or an RFP is a much better option. I don't think your regular RFP is the best approach. I would think that more of a non-binding or a negotiated RFP would be more appropriate for services of this nature. And here's why. It is solution-based. We have a problem, and the funeral homes, because this is their specialty, this is their niche, they can tell us how best they can solve that problem for us and how they can do it around the clock. So here's some of the things that you can evaluate on. Quality standards. So not only for the services that are being provided, the service levels that we require for 24/7 service and support. We can evaluate on things such as sustainability and how environmentally friendly they are with their handling and disposal practices. Are you handling bodily fluids correctly? Do you have disposal options that are more environmentally friendly, such as aquamation as compared to open flame cremation, which is quite popular, particularly with the Hindu community in Trinidad and Tobago. We need to drive continuous improvement and efficiencies. So a vendor should be able to tell you in their proposal how they're going to help you support response times and quicker turnarounds, because as we know, the Forensic Sciences Center can be severely delayed when it comes to things like autopsies and releasing bodies. You can evaluate this vendor on vendor performance, like are they meeting their targets? Are they adhering to the terms of the contract you've negotiated with them? A huge thing in an RFP, and particularly a negotiated one, and if you're baking in competitive dialogue, is that you can allow these vendors to help you formulate the pricing strategy. So they would better be able to tell you what strategy would help you achieve more cost certainty while still accounting for fluctuations in the market, that dreaded inflation word. And then you can ask them how they would be able to support optional services. Maybe they issue death certificates or whatnot. So let me know if you like this. I'll do it again for other services if